Okay, so then you get to the third and fourth body paragraphs. The structure is an introduction and four body paragraphs. The third one, a dedicated paragraph about structure and form and its meaning. So, what happens in this extract in terms of structure and form? Structure, remember, means the physical parts of the piece of writing. Form means its overall shape at the end. Think of it in terms of a house. Structure is the beams, the tiles on the roof, the doorways, the door arches. The form is the actual particular type of house that is built in the end. Here, Shakespeare uses metrical variety and sound devices, two different components of the structure, to emphasize the unnatural power of Lady Macbeth. So he uses two different things to create this effect. This is your element of style, writer's choices. It's metrical variety. Metrical variety means the changing in the rhythm of the lines. So we have those moments of iambic pentameter. We have those moments where the iambic pentameter changes. And then the unnatural power of Lady Macbeth is the sense, the meaning of this line. We have that combination again. Writer's choice, sense. So, the use or manipulation of iambic pentameter. You can use a number of different examples here, but generally the point is that it is strict when dealing with Macbeth's morality, less so when her evil is discussed. So when we're talking about Macbeth having a moral conscience, the iambic pentameter is used much more rigidly with the 10 syllables, for, the unstressed, stressed syllabic pattern. Then when we're talking about Lady Macbeth's ideas, that rhythm expands outwards, and we get this suggestion that the form and order and harmony of the speech is being disrupted, in the same way that the ideas that she is articulating want to disrupt a form or an order or a piece of harmony, or a sense of harmony, sorry. The alliteration, dost fear to do than wishes should be undone. Here, you could say this is part of what makes Lady Macbeth's speech commanding, is this powerful alliteration that she uses with herself to convince herself that her logic is sound and that she is right to interfere in Macbeth's personality. She's talking here about his fear being the main motivating cause behind him not wanting to kill Duncan, rather than his moral decision making, something that he wishes should be undone. Again, the final example, murdering ministers and sightless substances in that final section of the speech are, again, elements of alliteration that give that sense of unnatural power to Lady Macbeth. That she has this kind of supernatural element to her language, that she sees murdering ministers as something that in many cases is kind of paradoxical. We think of ministers as being religious in some way, murdering as being kind of something that would prevent you from calling yourself religious. And then sightless substances, again, both of those two things are paradoxical. The sightless substances is really, in some cases, an oxymoron. Of course, in proper scientific terms, it's not, but we think of something substantial as something that we can touch or see or get our hands on, but something that's sightless is invisible. In all these different cases, the unnatural power of Lady Macbeth is what is emphasized. Then we go on to the final paragraph, which is your concluding moment. Now, the unusual thing about this particular extract is that the concluding moment is the climactic moment because of this dramatic, spell-like conclusion to the extract. So here, what you're looking to do in this concluding moment is talk about the combination of style and meaning and sense, style and sense, but then also the way that the shift in the writer's purpose or perspective is evident in this particular part of the text. So here we see Lady Macbeth moving from a sense of hesitancy in the opening to a sense of decisive resolution in the conclusion of this extract. So let's look at the topic sentence. Shakespeare concludes the extract with Lady Macbeth's spell-like incantation of evil. That is the element of the writer's choice. This overall style of this conclusion is spell-like, and an incantation is like a chant that you would say in order to summon evil spirits. This is a broad kind of stylistic category that the end of this extract seems to fit. That's the element of the writer's choice, which confirms her decision to pursue her evil plan, which reinforces to her decision that she's going to carry out this evil plan. And so we then have a choice of different features from this particular paragraph that are examples of spell-like language. The opening, that raven, comparing the messenger to a raven gives him that ominous power, as if he is forewarning the audience and herself about Duncan's death. Then the apostrophe, the addressing of something that is absent. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts. They are not present in the scene. She is addressing them as if they are at the beginning of some kind of spell, some kind of attempt to summon their power. Then fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. You'll see throughout this pattern is what we call a lexis of nausea. There's lots of words that are associated with sickness or illness and vomiting. Take my milk for gall. Again, there's something antithetical about that image. Milk is seen as this kind of calming, innocent, nourishing liquid, and gall is obviously seen as being the motivating force behind violence and hatred and acid and hostile. You know, they are opposing, contradictory ideas. And then finally, that final image from the end of the section, the end of this extract. Thick night, pull thee in the dunnest smoke of hell. Pull yourself in that dark smoke, so that heaven peep not through the blanket of the dark. There's a spelling mistake there. So we've got that suggestion there of her wanting the night almost to shroud its own light, so that her moral crimes are not particularly evident. In this case, you don't necessarily need a conclusion, because you've dealt with the concluding part of the extract in a way that creates a natural sense of conclusion through the way that you've tracked the writer's shift in perspective or purpose. So I hope that helps, guys. That is a guide to structuring the 4-body paragraph commentary based on that 5-point method of annotation.